Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. I figured that today I would walk you through how I start to curate and get inspired for a new season. Fall is just around the corner. I actually started this process about a month ago, but I thought that it would be helpful for you guys to see how I go through things, what is my jumping off point, how I curate things, and really what I do for each season is start with the inspiration and I end with a sort of not only capsule wardrobe for my closet, but also a capsule home decor curation for my home. So, fashion for me and home decor go together. I usually start with fashion, but it doesn't always happen that way. So for me, they are sisters, they go together. Normally, my fashion for a season is adjacent and looks similar colors, textures, patterns to what I've chosen to go in my home. So I am going to take you along the journey today to what I do. And like most good things, it starts with a Pinterest board. So I will take you through just a quick visual scroll through of my Pinterest for autumn home and autumn fashion. That is what those boards are called on my Pinterest. My Pinterest is public. You guys can click the link below and go through my Pinterest if you'd like to do a deep dive all year long as I come across inspiration for a given board. I pin it. So here I have autumn fashion. So I do a quick scroll through to visually get my eyes tuned up to the things I am drawn towards, sort of the overall vibe for a season. I look for repeating patterns. So I see a lot of trench coats, I see a lot of suede, fun accessories, things like belts, pops of color, hair clips, purses, things of that nature. And then I will also go through quickly and look at home. During this process of skimming my Pinterest board, usually what will happen is a certain item will jump out to me. So, there might be like, okay, this blanket. I love this blanket. If I can't get this blanket out of my mind, this blanket will become my jumping off point, sort of the grounding object that all of my other autumn home curations will come off of. And the same thing will happen for my fashion. So I will go ahead and link my Pinterest below. I have had my Pinterest for at least 10 years or 15 years, not this exact account, but I had a previous account and I took tons of time to combine everything onto one account. So I highly recommend going to check out my Pinterest. It is something I am constantly adding to, and I do create my own pins and upload those to the platform as well as pinning others' beautiful images. So that is my jumping off point always. I think that a majority of people use that as a jumping off point. So, number one for starting a curation of any kind is Pinterest. Go get inspired, look at many different things and really keep an open mind. Two would be follow your inspiration. This really is just a pillar sort of my whole life, you could say. But like I said, I start off with an object of inspiration. This sometimes starts from going through my Pinterest board. Sometimes this is something I have screenshotted or had a sponsored ad target me for or came across on Etsy. But I will get inspired and then find my object to start off. One for home, one for fashion. That is exactly how I started this year for autumn. Sort of my belief and part of my design philosophy in general is that inspiration, the imagination, creativity, whatever you want to call it, is one of the ways that our soul or our higher self communicates with us. When you follow your inspiration, it will lead you to joy, always. I start off with inspiration, and I even do that for when I'm having an off day or when I need to get a lot of work done, but I'm unsure of sort of prioritizing what needs to get done. I meditate and I ask myself, what am I being drawn to today? What is my inspiration today? And it never leads me astray. So that is a way that you guys can use your intuition. You can watch my video for inspiration and see what my process is, but ultimately, you are the master of your own life. You have the same creative ability within you. You just need to quiet your mind enough to tap into that, and you will be amazed at how creative you really can be. I think everyone has tons of creativity inside them. It is just learning how to tap into it. So, I this year for the home found this beautiful, I will pop it up on the screen, Scalamandre pillow cover. And that was my jumping off point for my autumn home decor. And for fashion, I found, I think it was actually a targeted ad that I found this on, but vintage Cartier watch with a red crocodile band. And I am a very visual person. It is one of those innate skills that I was born with. I am a visual learner. I am psychically clairvoyant. And that's also how I'm able to design spaces and how I was naturally good at designing clothes because when I get a piece of inspiration, I can immediately visualize in my mind's eye what it will look like in a space or on the body and how I would accessorize it, what I would wear it with. And so the second that I've grabbed a piece of inspiration, my mind is just running a million miles an hour, just listing out everything that would go with that. And I just immediately have a vision. So, this entire process that I'm explaining to you guys for me happens quite quickly. This whole process for me would be done within 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour. And so that being said, I have my two objects. I've gone through inspiration. And now what I will do is I will begin the curation where I, at this point, will gather up all of these images, saving it to a file on my computer. One for autumn home, one for autumn fashion. And as these things are popping into my head, oh, a throw blanket in this color, a shoe in this color, I will start Googling it and dragging and dropping images to the given folders on my desktop computer. Once that is done, I open up Canva and I begin putting together a mood board. Sometimes all of this goes onto one mood board just because it's happening so fast. Sometimes it's too different, but after I saved images to the folders, I start dragging and dropping them and placing them all together in a collage on Canva. That way I can see physically how items are interacting with each other what the through lines are. And once those mood boards are complete, I always post them on my Instagram. I will pop up a mood board for home here on the screen. And here I will pop up the mood board for autumn fashion that I have already curated through Canva. Once I have curated those mood boards, they get saved on my phone and on my computer. And as I am shopping around or just pulling product virtually, I will be checking and cross-referencing those mood boards to stay on target. Because what will happen once you get in the weeds on pulling product is that there will be tons of stuff that you like. But to really get a curation going, let's say, for example, for fashion, you might say, okay, I'm really drawn to red, deep red and brown for autumn season. But you've pulled a couple of sweaters, a cardigan, and a shoe, and you have no bottoms or accessories. Then that's not a capsule wardrobe because you can't put together full outfits, mixing and matching things. So that's where the mood board will come in handy. As you're picking out these items, you're cross-referencing the mood board to check the vibe, and you're looking at the products to say, okay, how many ways could I wear this cardigan? Could I wear it with this? Okay, seems like I need a silk skirt. And then all of these things, now I have 4 different outfits with 3 items. So that is sort of how I do that. I hope that this is making sense because when you're in that creative flow, it can be so hard to describe how exactly you are doing things, to sort of put it in a structure and come up with the words to describe it. So I hope that that is making sense. Step 4 for me has recently actually become using my Shop My account. This for me, this started as something that I did for you guys to have a platform where all the things I love, wear, and save can be easily organized for you guys to basically shop and even get in my head and see exactly what I'm gravitating towards right now and what I'm curating. But really, through using my Shop My account, which is linked in the description below, I have also found it so great because all of these things that I screenshot, that I find, that I save throughout the months as the season goes on, I am able to get on my computer, once or twice a week and save all of that into a platform that's beautifully organized so that I don't have just random screenshots throughout my whole camera roll, some of which I never look at or see again. So this has become a really fun process for me and something that I have really looked forward to each season. I not only do home and fashion, but my absolute passion right now is antiques and vintage. It has been for about 6 years, and it's something that I think I will carry with me throughout my whole life. So I do also a vintage curation, and this vintage curation that I do is per month. So as I'm looking around, I find vintage. It's not for any season, it's just staples that I collect, things that I collect, beautiful things that I have found, and I save them all for you guys here, which I think is nice because I post a lot of my antique shopping on YouTube, but those items aren't shoppable for you guys unless I go scouring the internet on my free time, normally on a Sunday, and finding cool vintage for you guys that I can link on my Shop My, and sometimes I'm even able to find the exact same items that I found in person for you guys to shop on your own, which is honestly just so much fun. Although I'm sure there are helpful videos on YouTube showing you guys how to use Canva, I will briefly screen record for you to show you my autumn home curation. I will show you the images that I have saved on the folder on my computer, and I will take you through creating a Canva mood board to inspire you guys to do the same. It's not only a practical thing to do, but it is also a fun, creative activity when you have a little bit of free time.
So I have my autumn home and autumn fashion folders on my desktop with the images saved that I have found on Pinterest, screenshots from Instagram, even images that I have found on websites. And at that point, I will go to Canva. I have this template that I created and use for all curations. This is my starting off point. And I take the images and drag and drop them into my Canva mood board. So once I can see sort of the overall vibe, this is what I will start referencing as I shop for products. So this is the vibe. These are, I can see that there's, warm tones, there's browns, there's some deep sort of umber colors, green. I also know that as a whole for the autumn season, the as we transition into autumn, I'm spending more time at home. I am hosting more often. I normally have things like garlic hanging in the kitchen. I have fresh herbs in terracotta pots. I have canned goods that I have been at home canning for the pantry, sort of creating this back stock so that I can host on a whim if I run into friends out or feel inspired to try a new dish. It's soup season. I am often cooking something, a long, slow cook in the kitchen. My house always smells like roasting food, garlic, onions. I have fuzzy throw blankets out. So I am in my mind thinking about not only how I live during each season, but I'm visually referencing these boards that I put together often. I post them on my Instagram stories, I post them on my Instagram grid. I even set these as my phone background often so that as I'm out and about going through my day or shopping around, looking through coffee table books, magazines, I am referencing these curated mood boards that I have put together to stay on track. So, once I have created this sort of rough draft mood board using a template that I use for everything, I will then put together a little bit more of an artsy and a little bit more of a artsy aesthetic looking mood board. It's more pleasant to me visually, and this mood board is the one that I will post and use. Whereas the one that I have a template for, that's just a series of images all next to each other, is sort of my rough draft version. Then I sit down and I make a more visually appealing, artistic version of the same thing. This will be sort of my final mood board. I have one for fall home and one for fall fashion. And these will be my guidebooks throughout the season as I buy or curate anything. If it doesn't play well into this aesthetic, I usually don't buy it because even if I'm drawn to it, I don't end up wearing it or using it if it doesn't play well with the other items. A lot of curating and having a fine tuned eye in design, whether it's fashion or home, is your ability to refine, your ability to not buy into the trends, not impulsively buy things without taking a step back, taking a deep breath, assessing the overall vibe, and what your truest style is with, tuning out the outside noise. So this is a great way to keep yourself in check and tune out that noise.
Okay, so now I wanted to talk about an overview of sort of my personal fall style when it comes to the home. I like to decorate for each season, thinking about practical items and my lifestyle. I don't really do themed decorating, so I might, things are always evolving over time. I might end up doing that like when I have kids, for example, but right now that's just not really my style to, have pumpkins or anything like that for fall season. So I really tap more into the senses and practical lifestyle items, right? So throw blankets and pillows, I'm using those year round on the couch, on our chairs, lounging around. It's something that you touch and feel and use on a daily basis. Same with, for example, kitchen tea towels. Those are something that I will be using in the kitchen. I need those. And so items like that, I will bring in new for each season. That way, it's practical, it fits in with my lifestyle, and it's not just for show. So, fall, I have noticed throughout the years that for fall, I really crave much more rustic style. So I like to bring in things like sheepskin rugs, heavier knit blankets, much deeper and warmer tones. I notice that I bring in much more brown, greens, and some mustardy or light yellow colors. And as far as prints, I am usually gravitating towards a plaid or a gingham print around fall season. Having those elements in mind when I go to plan fall style for each year is helpful for me because it allows me to build over time. So I already have two plaid blankets, not really a traditional plaid, but sort of more modern plaid blankets. I bought one about 3 years ago, one last year, and I will probably buy another one this year so that the collection is forever growing. And then I also think about the high touch points of the home. So the kitchen definitely needs a hint of fall. The living room, the powder bathroom, because that's where guests will see. I like to do it also in the master, specifically the master bed. And then my office, because I'm in here every day and I like to be surrounded by fresh and new each season. So I don't do too much in the guest rooms. Again, things are always evolving, and I don't do much outside either. So, really, the high touch point areas of the home will be my focal point. I think it's also fair to mention that I am in Florida, so I am not going to be experiencing cold weather or snow outside, maybe a couple crisp days like a 75 or a 73, and that's about it. So, because I am in a tropical climate, things don't change too much for me between fall and winter. I like to look at them like sort of one flows into the other, and then I do a big refresh come the beginning of spring, and the same thing happens spring and summer kind of mesh together. So there are a couple things, of course, if I get an itch, I update things. And Christmas, I have Christmas decor, but that's a long way of just making the point that what I put in my house for fall will be the base foundation for building on my Christmas decor. So, whatever comes in my house in fall, dark browns, greens, rustic things like dough bowls and sheepskin rugs will stay also through Christmas. What will happen with winter and Christmas is that I will just add on to the fall decor. I will add in things like deep reds. I like to add in some shinier elements like polished silver, polished brass, and twinkly lights. But the fall decor will remain. I'm just adding onto it. So that is sort of how I operate for decorating the seasons in my house. And for me, it's really about leaning into a atmosphere and a mood, bringing in those darker tones, warmer tones, thinking about my lifestyle, and thinking about the senses, bringing in a fall fragrance, thinking about food items that I cook regularly and things maybe that I would have out on the counter that are functional that I would be using. Like maybe I bring out a big copper stock pot and I leave that on the stove for the season. Maybe I have a big dough bowl in the middle of the island, kitchen island, where I have artichokes or other produce that I will be using for the seasonal dishes. Maybe I have butternut squash or something in there. I might pull out a couple of my canned goods and have them on the counter, a fall cookbook, maybe some gingham or plaid, kitchen towels, like that sort of a thing, where it's not just for show, it's really practical. It brings a different mood and atmosphere into your home to make the season come alive. So for me, it's even more important that I really cozy up the inside of my house because the outside environment is not going to give me the fall feelings. It's going to be tropical as it is all year round here. And so I really like to lean into fall within my home.
I hope that you guys watch this video and feel inspired to curate your home and curate a capsule wardrobe for the season. I want you guys to watch this and feel inspired to really go through this process yourself. Although I'm always flattered when you guys love what I curate and when you shop my curations. But ultimately, I really want to show you guys my process, hoping that it inspires you to do the same, that you dig into that creative ability within you that we all have, and that you are able to find your truest expression of yourself, to figure out what you love and use in your home and what you love and will use in your fashion. So, I hope that you guys loved this video. If there's anything else that you guys would like to see from me, or anything that you're curious about with home, fashion, or even any spirituality, although I don't really like talking about it, maybe in the future I will. But I have tons of resources that I can direct you guys to with that, because I do not consider myself an expert. It's just part of my everyday life. And if you made it this far in this video, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys next week for another one. Bye.